Welcome to the Health Revolution, the program that shows you how to have a life of vibrant well-being. In a world full of noisy health trends, we bring you clarity. We reveal the science-backed strategies that truly work in a sea of fads. We explore the physical strength, emotional resilience, and mental mastery. These are the keys to an enriched life. Join us for inspiring interviews with champions who've conquered life's health challenges. Are you ready to unlock your potential to live with vitality and purpose? Then join the Health Revolution. I'm your host, Adriana Morrison, health and fitness expert, speaker, and a mom who understands. Let's embark on this transformative quest. Together, we're about to change the game starting now. The information provided in this show is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Viewers should use their own discretion and consult with a healthcare professional for personalized guidance and recommendations. Welcome, everybody. You are watching the Health Revolution, and we're excited that you're joining us today. I'm your host, Adriana Morrison, and no matter which way you're tuning into us, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. We want to stay connected to you. Also, at the bottom of your show episode notes, you're going to see that little tab for just that. You want to reference that information because we've got some important details about today's episode. Now, if you are tuning into us for the very first time, we welcome you. And of course, our show is all about mastering the physical strength, the emotional resilience, and then the mental mastery. Today, we're going to talk about the power of natural healing. And what does that mean? And what role does it play as we are going through the aging process? So our guest today is someone who I'm excited to talk to, and I'd love for you to get to know her so we can have that conversation. Take a look at this. Meet Kimberly Verbeke, a naturopathic practitioner, health coach, and founder of Avita Wellness and Aesthetics. With a deep focus on regenerative medicine and helping people age well, Kimberly empowers others to reclaim their health by unlocking the body's natural healing abilities. Her approach is both compassionate and personal, drawing from her own health journey to guide others through challenges like toxicity and age-related health optimization. Kimberly's dedication to wellness goes beyond the clinic, as she's also an athlete, outdoor enthusiast, and prioritizes her time with family. Today, we'll explore her insights into how we can achieve holistic vitality and lifelong wellness. Kimberly Verbeke, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You know, I love the space that you represent, the holistic approach to that optimal living. Can you talk about your ways of addressing the aging process, and what are some components we need to keep in mind as our bodies are aging?
Oh gosh, where do we start? I would say that my foundational piece for everyone is you got to get your sleep right to be healthy. From there, it's real food, right? Nutrition matters, what you're eating matters, and movement matters. Our bodies were made to move. When we stop doing things, we stop being able to do things. And so I'm really big on, if you have something you love doing and it starts to feel hard, let's figure out why and get you on a path that helps you continue to do that thing. Whether, I've got people in their 80s still riding horseback all the time. Movement matters. So let's keep you moving so you stay young.
So you're a naturopathic practitioner. Talk a little bit about the details. What does this mean to someone who's like, I have no idea what this means?
Yeah. So root cause, right? It's very functional medicine approach, but really starting with the root cause. Let's figure out why something is going wrong and fix that, not mask the symptom. That is really the basis of what I do.
What got you interested in having this role? What was behind the story?
I grew up this way. I
Okay.
always, yeah, I laugh and say when other kids had pediatricians, I had like an iridologist and a naturopath, I'm a chiropractor. I wanted to be a medical doctor when I was young, and I started out working in a nursing home. I gave medications, and I became so disillusioned so quickly when I saw that people weren't getting better. It was just so disappointing because I hadn't really spent a lot of time around allopathic medicine, and I thought that was the thing. And so that kind of led me on a quest. I was always into exercise and physical fitness, but it really led me kind of down that path of what keeps people healthy and young and vibrant. Like, why are all 90-year-olds not the same, right? What are the ones that look great and are still moving well? What are they doing differently?
And obviously, this is a trend that we're seeing in society, that more and more people are aware. We're becoming more aware of what this means, this naturopathic
Mhm.
pathway. When did the change happen where society started to pay attention to this? Because obviously, this was not the traditional sense, not here in the United States anyway.
You know, I think more and more people are becoming disillusioned with just what has happened in traditional medicine in terms of doctors now having an average of 7.5 minutes to spend with a patient, right? It's just not an adequate amount of time to figure out what's going on. I mean, I can't possibly know what's truly wrong with you in 7.5 minutes. It's just a kind of a no brainer. I think that COVID really brought to the forefront how unhealthy Americans in general are, right? Um, it made people acutely aware of, okay, I, I I want a better outcome. And that means choosing something different, choosing how we take care of ourselves. And really, for me, my job is always to help people understand we're all responsible for our own health. And so leading from that place of taking responsibility for yourself, and then I can teach you, I can help guide you in the right direction.
Are we all on board yet? I mean, obviously, COVID has changed the trajectory of how we look at things, and so now we have options of approaching our health. But and are you seeing that there is a substantial number of people who are turning to this, or is it more of a gradual traction that it just continues to evolve, the number of people that are looking to the naturopathic way, the functional medicine? What's your take on that?
I think a lot more people are open to alternative medicine or functional medicine, whatever you want to call it. I think that there's been some pretty big shifts that direction in the last few years that was brought about by this just really, awakening to how unhealthy we are as a country. So, for me, a big one, I'm sure you'll agree with this, is protein, right? We don't just need protein for aesthetic muscle, right? It looks great, it's beautiful, but it's so much more than that. It helps us age well. It is has a really important tie to our cognitive function. Our muscle is a hormone in signaling organ, so there's just more and more pieces that we're learning about muscle, and also the role in maintaining muscle as we age, right? It's a little more work as we get older. It takes more protein to create protein synthesis in the muscle as we age. So helping people understand, hey, this is one of the ways that you're going to age better is by having adequate muscle mass.
Goes for both men and women, that as the human body ages, that we're still seeing a decline, and obviously we women are dealing with menopause
Mhm.
as we're getting older, but this involves both men and women that we have to be on the lookout for. Yes.
Absolutely. Women just tend to lose muscle quicker after menopause if we're not actively working to hang on to it.
So then, if we look at our life expectancy, does the functional medicine approach has that impacted our life expectancy here in the States? And what can you tell us about just any trends that you might know of in terms of those two tying together, functional medicine, and then just how we're getting older?
Functional medicine is that approach of let's give the body all the tools it needs so it can be in homeostasis, right? In perfect health. Um, it's it's really interesting to look at from the standpoint of there's a lot of noise, for example, around eating a vegetarian or vegan diet. And I always say to people, look, I don't have an emotional attachment to your diet. I understand the love of animals, but let's look at it through a longevity lens. We need adequate amino acids for our body to heal and repair. And when we don't have enough, our body really starts to break down. So, getting people to look at things through the lens of what actually is right, what is serving me now, because what serves us when we're 20 doesn't necessarily serve us when we're 40 or 60. Those things change.
Extremely true. Why is it hard for us to wrap our heads around, our minds around the concept of being able to take care of the body and be proactive? What are some areas? Where do we get it twisted? Where are we stuck in society?
I it's so interesting because when you go to other countries and you look at their health as a whole, you see, like, you go to Europe, you see a lot less obesity, but you see interesting things like alcohol's part of their sometimes lunch, mostly their dinner, right? There are these things that you're like, wait a second. The thing that I see it's so different about the United States from other places that have better health in general, Americans struggle with moderation.
Okay.
We're not a real moderate society. I think Americans in general are more extreme. And it's part of our charm, right? We're very warm, we're very like gregarious. We have these certain things about us that we're kind of known for, but along with that, we are more extreme as a society. And so I tend to believe that health lies in moderation. It's not the extremes that works for most people, right? It's that finding that middle of the road where you have a little bit of, hey, I can have a slice of pizza sometimes and that's okay. I'm going to exercise, right? There's the people that don't exercise at all. There's the people that over exercise. Finding that moderation, like, oh, maybe I need to heal and repair today instead of working out for the seventh day in a row. it's,
And,
it's,
and that is so true. I do, it's so concerning in reality that some of the numbers that we're looking at with health is just it's not looking good at the current trend without measures taken to course correct. And
Mhm.
I read a study not long ago that the assumption is that we are projected to hit 50% of the U.S. adult obesity rate to be the case by the year 2035. And already we're continuing to we're inching closer and closer. I think we hit 40% by 2021. I think and it's increased since then.
Mhm.
So, for some, there are those who say, I'm doing everything that I can,
Mhm.
but I'm just playing, I'm trying to play whack-a-mole with all the things in front of me.
Mhm.
And but at the same time, obviously, if we don't take care of our health, then we're inviting a host of situations happening. So what are some trends that you are noticing that maybe that we don't realize are a true concern for men, women, for both the United States, or just globally, a thing that we need to be on the lookout for, or several things?
I think one of the things I find really concerning is the amount of refined food that people eat. I'm a big, big proponent of eat real food. Eat things that you recognize what they are. When things are so grossly refined that you don't even know what the ingredients are, how is it food? Is it food like? Is kind of my question. I think that's a really big issue. I read something the other day that said 90% of the food that children eat is now refined. That's frightening. It's really frightening too when you look at the statistics of obesity and diabetes in children. Um, we're going to have to, do something to get the ship to turn. And it starts with parents, being responsible for what we're giving our kids to eat. And this isn't a, pick on the parents thing. I know I've been a single parent. Parents are busy, but we have to do better, right? And the easy road ends up being the hard road in the long run. I think we both can agree there.
Yes, and I think you're right. And I remember when I have 4 kids, and I remember being when they were young, the temptation just to give them something quick because we were having to, either a schedule.
Mhm,
It was just go, run, run, run from one thing to the next. And so I feel like out of convenience, there's been a consequence that's come
mhm,
with convenience. And then if we take it back, there is, there are studies that point that if we're being honest,
mhm,
that the food industry does play a role, and the influence that happened decades ago that is just kind of still with us. And
mhm.
what are your thoughts on the role that the food industry plays in long term?
Well, I mean, I have a real problem with like some of the food that's advertised on kids' channels. Like it's garbage. And why are we promoting that to children? Because they don't have the knowledge. They see it and want it. Understandable. Um, I think there are a lot of things that we do here in the States that's backwards, and it does not promote health. And that's, it's frightening because we are creating this generation of sick kids. They're going to grow up to be sick adults. And we know statistically, if someone's, for example, obese as a child, your chance of getting out of that as an adult is much slimmer than if you hit that threshold when you are already an adult. So, it comes back to sometimes we have to make hard choices. Maybe our kid can only be in one sport, so we have a little time to meal prep or whatever that looks like, right? But at the end of the day, if you don't have your health, your quality of life is so poor. And there are so many factors around our health that are in our control if we take the time to do those things, right? Like prepare real food and prioritize sleep and get movement. Yeah.
And I completely agree with you. I do believe that families set the tone, and there's almost it's almost like which comes first, the chicken or the egg. So
Mhm,
then expectations, trying to take care of family, and doing all the things,
mhm,
and so then you're pressed for time. But if you make the time, then you give. So it's almost like that's why I don't believe in like true balance
mhm,
in life. I do. And tell me your thoughts on this. I believe that when you hold space for one or you pay attention to one, you're taking the attention off of something else. And so it's almost like ebbs and flow, like ocean waves. And
totally. I totally agree, right? And this isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Like I tell people if they come see me and they're eating 90% of their meals out, I'm like, okay, where can we cut? Do you think Monday, Wednesday, and Friday you could pack your lunch? Or maybe just Tuesday and Thursday? But if we start making baby steps in the right direction and someone starts feeling better and seeing the progress, there's encouragement there to take more steps in the right direction.
there's a lot to dive into. We're going to do just that. First, we're going to take a commercial break. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this.
NAD is something that we use for people who are going through withdrawal symptoms, whether it's opioids, whether it's alcohol. GABA receptors in our brain is something that alcohol affects when we drink. So when you're going through alcohol withdrawals and I give you the calm bag or give you calm with GABA in it, it kind of gives your brain that kind of fix, so to speak, of the alcohol to help with the withdrawal symptoms. I'm not saying it gets rid of them. I'm not saying I give you GABA and you're good to go forever. That's not what I'm saying. It's again, just like everything we offer, it's a relief.
Introducing Launchpad, the perfect partner to help you launch your dream project to the world. We know that time is of the essence, and we're here to help you make the most of it. With Launchpad, you'll get access to the most advanced digital tools and strategies to take your idea from a mere concept to a fully fledged success. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned pro, we have everything you need to make your mark in the world. Launchpad, your ultimate launch partner.
Welcome back to the Health Revolution. Today, we're talking about the power of natural healing, and our guest today, Kimberly Verbeke. She's a naturopathic practitioner and health coach. And before the break, we started to talk about the components of nutrition and some of the things that have been part of the landscape as to why we're struggling as a society to get healthier. But we're definitely diving into some components that can help us. And I'm curious to find out from you, what is your definition of holistic wellness, and what are some key elements in that definition that are important to know?
So I would say my idea of holistic wellness is you wake up in the morning and you feel energetic and your mood is good and you go about your day and you have the energy to do the things you need to do. You have the resilience when something stressful comes along. You encounter someone with a cold and you're not like, oh gosh, I'm going to get it. I have a strong immune system, right? You do a hard workout, you recover from it. That's my idea of being well from a holistic point of view. Um, and some of the elements that create that are, they start with, I mentioned, I feel like the foundation of our health is good quality sleep. When you don't sleep, your body doesn't heal and repair the way that it should. When you don't sleep, you typically or statistically consume an additional 30% in calories for the day. You have less metabolic flexibility, right? You're more insulin resistant. Your mood tends to be poor. There are so many things about sleep that just make it top priority. And so I'm a big fan of get your sleep right first, and then we work on other things. But if your sleep is garbage, you're probably going to feel like garbage.
And what would you say to the person who's like, okay, easier said than done.
Mhm.
I'm on third shift, or
Mhm.
someone who say the case of the person who is not happy in their job and they're trying to work on the side hustle to make that the main thing, but then
Mhm.
they've got the only time that they have is the time outside of work. So in those two scenarios where you have someone who has to work in the evening late hours, and then someone who is trying to gain traction to transition, what would you say to them? What is helpful for them to implement?
So, shift work is kind of its own animal because you have a very disrupted circadian rhythm. What you can do in those instances are blackout curtains, doing all the things to try to replicate night. Um, Maybe use a little something to calm the brain down so that you feel tired when you need to sleep. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one because there are people that have to do shift work. The flip side of it is we know it's very hard on people's health and incredibly hard on their longevity. And I think there's some ways you just can't out biohack that, right? And so you just do the very best you can. For people that are hustling, there's a point where you have to close your computer and go, if I don't sleep, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be real valuable tomorrow. I'm not going to think clearly. I'm not going to. So kind of figuring out that line for you. How much sleep do I have to perform well, to feel well? And again, finding some middle of the road there, right? Because I get it. I mean, most of us have been in situations where we are doing extra things and we don't have as much time for rest as we need. But I think if you work at finding balance, that's, again, progress, not perfection.
And, this is such an important topic. I'm glad that you brought this up. So, sleep deprivation obviously leads to, elevated cortisol levels. There's that correlation. How does one know when they've crossed the line of being sleep deprived? And I know each person is different, but what are some common indicators that would lead one to suspect, or like a red flag for the body, that, okay, you're sleep deprived, not getting enough, and turn off the TV, or it's time to turn down the computer, all the things?
One of the big things that I hear from people is they feel hungry all the time. And that's the body looking for that kind of instant hit of energy, right? Hungry, moody. Moody's another big one I hear. Like, I just feel like I'm in a really poor mood, or I get really irritable really quickly. I don't have a lot of patience with my kids, or I would say those are the biggest things I hear when people are sleep deprived. Not recovering from workouts, when people are still trying to work out hard and not sleeping well. I've been down that path personally. I can tell you don't want to go down it. I 10 out of 10 don't recommend it. Yeah, I would say those are the things I most commonly hear from people when they're not sleeping well.
So I'm remembering a recent conversation with a cardiologist who had made mention
Mhm.
that there are newer studies
Mhm.
that tie sleep deprivation to some really truly alarming health conditions that can implement, your cardiac health, and to where it impacts far beyond than we realize. What has been your findings in coming across this information? And do you agree with, say, what I'm sharing with you now, that now we're seeing the tie in, that heart health and sleep deprivation is an issue? And then what are some things that, say, viewers can do to combat that if they find that they're in that situation?
So just to make even stronger point about heart health and sleep, look at the statistics around the time changes in heart attacks. It's staggering. The
Mm,
time change, right? So, I mean, sleep has a massive impact on our cardiac health. Um, in terms of things people can do, so there are people that don't like melatonin. If you look at Russell Ryder's work, he's done a tremendous amount of clinical research through his life on melatonin. Melatonin does not have a negative feedback loop. It's produced in every cell in our body. And so you can take it and it will not shut down your body's own production of melatonin. Melatonin can be helpful in getting people to fall asleep. It has a very short half-life, about 45 minutes. So it's shouldn't keep you, make you feel sleepy the next day. That can be helpful. There are things like L-theanine, GABA, 5-HTP, or some supplements. There are a lot of herbs that are very calming. Chamomile, St. John's wort. There's different things you can use to just help kind of bring you into this calmer space when it's time to go to sleep. I'm also a big, big fan of don't have on bright lights before bed, because you're telling your body it's time to be awake versus time to go to sleep. So bring those lights down as it gets time to go to sleep. Get off your electronic devices. They impact your sleep. There's little things you can do. Keep your bedroom cool. Take a warm bath prior to bed if you're having a hard time relaxing, and then your body temperature is going to drop more the way that it should, and that can help you fall asleep. There's a lot of little tips and tricks that can kind of help with that circadian rhythm. Another one that I'm a massive fan of is getting natural sunlight in the naked eye the first 2 hours of sunlight. It's that full spectrum light. It sets off your cascade of hormones for the entire day, right? It's going to tell your body 12 to 14 hours later, hey, we better start making some melatonin. It's time for this gal to go to sleep. So,
What about the person who's like, gosh, I would love to do that. However, the moment I get up, my feet are hitting the ground. I
mhm,
got to get to work and it's dark
mhm,
outside and
mhm.
all of that. What are some best practices otherwise that would be good alternatives to that scenario?
Yeah, so you can get a light to have, like, say it's in your bathroom. Say you're somewhere where it gets dark kind of late and gets dark early, and you don't get a lot of. There was a point in my life where I worked in an airport building 2 floors underground, and in the winter I didn't see a lot of daylight. Right, unless I went outside to work out over my lunch. Um, there are things you can do, like a light that's like 10,000 lux, and it will kind of mimic bright morning sunlight. Have it on while you're getting ready, while you're shaving or putting on your makeup in the morning. So your body is like, oh, hey, it's morning time to wake up. And there are things we can do to hack and kind of help with that circadian rhythm. I'm still the biggest fan of get it naturally if you possibly can. But if you can't, that's a really inexpensive intervention that can be helpful.
So we talked about sleep. What are some other elements of holistic wellness that would be important to start aiming for if we're struggling to embrace holistic wellness?
Yeah, so we've got sleep, we've got real food, and I am the biggest fan of prioritizing protein. We're pretty under muscled as a society, and getting that 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight is a really kind of beautiful place for most people. I also think we kind of need to look at how much protein we take in at a meal as we age. When we're young, like in our 20s, it may take around 20 grams of protein to create protein synthesis in the muscle. When we're 40, it takes 40 to 5 grams, 40 to 45 grams. And so that that process happening, those things, again, we change as we age. And so getting an adequate amount matters. And I think hitting that protein goal is a really, really sweet place for people to kind of start in terms of with their food. What I find is that when people are getting adequate protein, they typically don't overeat carbs or fat. Protein is incredibly satiating. It has a thermogenic effect. And so if we start with our protein, we typically don't overeat the other things in our meal because we're full. And so that's kind of an easy way to go. I'm not taking things away from anyone, but I'm going to start with my protein and I'm going to make sure I hit my protein goal for the day every day. That's going to be that's a huge priority for me every day. And then I think that we are complicated houseplants. We need sunlight. Sunshine is so good for us in so many respects. Like, that light is important. People think we just get light in the body through the eyes, but we actually have light receptors on our skin. So that tells me we were made to get sunlight. And then, looking at little things like, are there areas where maybe we can supplement a little bit to really help amplify our health? Because a lot of our foods are not as nutrient dense as they used to be. Right? Our soil is depleted of nutrients, and we live these kind of high stress lives, and we get a lot of exposure to toxins and just a whole bunch of things that weren't part of our life even 50 years ago. And so making sure we're maximizing our nutrition is another really valuable way to amplify our health holistically.
That you gave that we're complicated house plants. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so right. We are complicated. I like that. And and you're right that 50 years ago things have changed, and I can't even believe 50 years ago was in the 70s, first of all.
I
But
know.
it does say a lot with where we are. And what are some of your favorite immediate steps to turn things around? So when somebody is struggling, say they're coming to you and they're like, I don't even know where to start. And then they have a hard time seeing the whole picture because they just want relief, they want to feel better.
Mhm.
What are some other best practices that you like to explore and have people start?
Another best practice for me is movement. And if you are an untrained individual, it's super simple. Start with walking. It's easy, it's free, you can do it pretty much anywhere. You have 5 minutes, go walk for 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes later, walk for 5 minutes later, right? We know now that exercise doesn't have to be done in one lump sum to be valuable. There's a lot of talk around exercise snacking, and I love it for people that are like, oh, I'm super busy, I don't have time to exercise. Yeah, you do. Set down your phone, get off your socials, and do 20 push-ups. Like, it doesn't have to be complicated. We overcomplicate things, and well, I can't if. No, just like get down by your desk and do 20 push-ups or do 20 air squats, but move your body. Our bodies were made to move, and they work so much better, so much more efficiently when they have regular movement.
So when you have conversations with doctors these days, or just others in the clinical space,
Mhm.
what do you pick up, or what are some things that you pick up that they're tuning into? Are there still some challenges in having those conversations where we can meet in the middle, and we can further embrace functional medicine? And what are you hearing in that space?
It's interesting. My medical director is a board certified emergency medicine doc, and he and I have some really interesting conversations because I'm in Texas, and Texas is an incredibly unhealthy state metabolically, right? A lot of diabetes, a lot of high blood pressure, all the diseases that come with poor metabolic health, right? Cardiovascular disease, stroke. Um, and it's really interesting because I think that a lot of medical doctors that are trained very traditionally are really being more open to the fact that, hey, we don't necessarily learn about food or diet as medicine in medical school, but maybe it plays a role. Maybe movement plays a role, right? And so, it's interesting, the the shifts that are happening. Is it everyone? No, but I think that more and more doctors are seeing that it's like we can't out medicate the diseases that people have now. And the thing from my standpoint that's so frustrating is there are things that are so preventable. Type 2 diabetes is completely preventable. And don't tell me that you have poor genetics. You have a poor lifestyle. That's really what it boils down to. And so getting people to, again, that accountability, that personal responsibility for the choices you make, and making better choices that give you better outcomes.
And I do believe that when we do the things that maybe make us uncomfortable, like say make choices that we don't want to, or it's outside, comfort zone is not being edified, that we actually take our power back. I,
Yeah.
I do believe that when we put ourselves in a position to that is required, that we regain control, the control that we wish we had. And
100%. I totally agree with you. It's empowering.
absolutely. We're going to continue our conversation. First, we're going to take a break. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this. Thank you so much for watching The Health Revolution. Our show is growing, and it's all thanks to viewers like you. No matter how you found us, please hit the subscribe button so we can stay connected and continue to deliver amazing content to you.
Hi, I'm Adriana, and welcome back to Fit Bites. Today, let's talk about eye health and easy ways to protect your vision as you age. Our eyes go through a lot every day, so keeping them healthy is key for long-term wellness. Now, first, focus on nutrition. So foods rich in vitamins A, C, and E, like carrots, leafy greens, and citrus fruits, support eye health and help prevent conditions like cataracts and macular degeneration. Omega-3s found in fish also help with dry eyes. When outdoors, wear sunglasses with 100% UV protection to shield your eyes from harmful sun exposure, which can damage your vision over time. If you spend a lot of time in front of screens, try the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, take a 20-second break to look at something 20 feet away. Now, this reduces eye strain and keeps your vision comfortable. And remember, regular eye exams are essential, even if you don't wear glasses. They help catch issues early and keep your prescription up to date. Protecting your eyes now keeps them healthy for the future. Stay proactive and care for your vision. Stay tuned for more Fit Bites with Adriana.
Welcome back to the Health Revolution. Our guest today, Kimberly Verbeke, she is a holistic practitioner and a health coach. We were talking about all things the power of natural healing. And Kimberly, I love how you talk about some of the framework that's important for us to keep in mind, and that there is definitely that level of hope, optimism. We have the power to turn things around. And so talk a little bit about how you do so to this day. You have you are part of, you're the founder of Avita Wellness and Aesthetics, and talk a little bit about your space, your company.
Yeah, so we have a small clinic in Boerne, Texas, and we do things a little differently. When I start out, I have someone come in, I do an hour and a half consult with them. And while that may seem like a lot of time, it goes by very quickly. It gives me a really good opportunity to understand what's happening with a person, right? What symptoms they're exhibiting, what they're experiencing, and then what we need to do to address those things. We look at an extensive list of labs. If we need to do other testing, we do that. But my goal is, a root cause approach to help someone heal. And so we do that by addressing everything, right? Looking at the body as one whole unit. So it's not just, oh, let me give you this supplement, go home and take it. It's let's get your sleep right. Let's get your environment right. I'm a big advocate of you can't heal in the same environment that made you sick. If you're living in a house full of mold, you probably can't expect to get well while you're still living there. You have to change your environment. And so helping people understand those types of things, as well as what can you do? What are baby steps you can make to increase your nutrition, your sleep, your movement, your quality of life in general? Are there ways you can mitigate stress? Maybe don't say yes to everything. Just little things that we're looking at a person as a whole human and not these individual boxes that are kind of segmented together in the body, because we're one unit and everything has to work really beautifully in unison for us to feel well.
I love the fact that you talk about the details, and that apparently there's a lot that goes into the onboarding process. Not that it's lengthy, but that your attention to detail is important. And who are some of the people that that would best benefit from what you have to offer?
Gosh, I have, everything from younger people that come see me to the oldest person I've seen is 99.
99. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
like that.
Pretty incredible, still healthy and strong. So the person that's going to come see me is somebody that's interested in taking control of their own health and going, how can I feel better? How can I age better? I have people that come to see me because they're like, look, I just want to optimize my health. I want to age really well. Beautiful. And then I have people that are really, really sick that come see me and they're like, I can't get an answer. Nobody knows what's wrong. And so I love, like, I'm tenacious, I'm like a little bulldog. I don't want to give up. I want to figure out what the issue is so the person can heal, because I'm such a big believer that our bodies are so capable of healing. They were made to heal. And sometimes we just need to ask the right questions to figure out what's going on. So I've got, like, I run the gamut in terms of the people that come to see me. But that's also part of what makes my job really fun.
So obviously in the title, Avita Wellness and Aesthetics, do you ever have, when I think of that, I'm wondering, do you ever have somebody come in with several issues and then the moment that they tackle something internally, that there's just that domino effect in a positive way that ends up being the result? Maybe that they're glowing, their skin looks great, and that maybe there's that level of vitality that starts to emerge in how they present themselves. Do you ever come across that? Do you see that more in women versus men, or men versus women, or is it just across the board you do see that?
I would say across the board, I see it. And it's so fun when you literally look at somebody that comes in and, their eyes aren't clear. They look haggard and tired. Their skin's all dry. Like, there's just so many symptoms on the outside of someone not feeling well inside. And you start working with them and they come in and they're like, I feel better. I'm sleeping better. I have more energy. I don't need a nap during the day. And they have all these little things that are happening. And when people see those things start to happen, they're encouraged and they start making even more good choices. And so it's a domino effect, like you said, in the right direction. And it's so rewarding to see that. I love it. I actually, my medical director was here the other day, and he's like, he was talking to someone that I'm working with, and he's like, your patients love you. And he's like, it's exciting. They're getting better, because he sees a lot of chronically ill, like people, uncontrolled diabetes just coming into the ER over and over, things like that. And I have to hand it to him. I mean, you have to have a strong, mindset to handle that, because it's not fun to watch people be chronically sick, and it is really fun to watch people get better. But again, those people, they're invested in their own health and they're taking responsibility and going, I need you to tell me and show me and help me, but I understand that I'm responsible, right? I'm the one that says when I go to bed at night and what I put in my mouth and whether or not I move daily. So yeah.
So the patient that does the best is the one who is determined to be proactive. And real quickly before the break, do you see success with patients who are brought in by family members out of concern, maybe a spouse, maybe just a relative, that they're like, help, and then you have a little bit of reluctance from the actual person who would be the patient?
I'm kind of big on who I take on, because I tell people I can't pull you across the finish line. If you don't care about your health, I can't care for you. So if you're not invested, this will just be a waste of time for you and for me. We'll both be frustrated. If this is something you want, I will be your cheerleader. I will help you. I will do everything I can, but you have to want to do the work, right? You have to have the right mindset.
Man, that's fantastic. This is powerful. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're coming right back. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this. Welcome back to the Health Revolution. We've been spending quality time with our guest today, Kimberly Verbeke. She's a naturopathic practitioner and health coach. We are talking all things the power of natural healing. Kimberly, where can viewers find you in the virtual space?
Yeah, so my website is a great place to connect. You can book an appointment right there, and it's avita by drv.com. Another great place. I'm very active on Instagram. I'm on Facebook a little bit, but Instagram is definitely where I'm more active, and that's Kimberly Verbeke Wellness. Those are probably the two best places to connect with me.
And can functional medicine coexist with traditional Western medicine? Can they coexist nicely? Your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. They complement each other. I'm the biggest fan of both. Sometimes people come see me and I'm like, gosh, I think you need to go see a cardiologist. Please do that soon, right? I am not at all against allopathic medicine, but I am against not addressing the root cause and lifestyle, because that absolutely has a massive impact on our health.
And where can we find you as we are rounding out 2024 and 2025? What do you have going on as we're entering this new year?
So I have a lot of podcasts booked, which is fun. And I'm also doing a little TV show in February, so that'll be fun. Just getting out there. I think my goal is always, whether someone comes to see me or goes to see someone else, like, I just want you to be healthy. I want you to have a wonderful, high quality life. And if I can help point someone in the right direction, that makes me so happy.
Kimberly Verbeke, it's been great to have you today, naturopathic practitioner, health coach. Thanks for spending time with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's been wonderful being here.
And for all our viewers, of course, you can find us on the web. Our website is revolutiontv.com. There you can sign up for our newsletter. You can certainly email us with any show episode ideas you would love for us to cover. In the corner of your screen, you'll see our QR code. Feel free to grab that. And then, of course, every Tuesday and Thursday, you'll find us on E360 TV, the Achieve TV channel specifically, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. That is all the time that we have for today. Until next time, take care of yourselves. We will see you soon.